This is a Control-Alt-Crit audio production. Everything we do at Control-Alt-Crit is sponsored by you, our wonderful patrons at patreon.com/Control-Alt-Crit. If you enjoy Farlight, please join the Control-Alt-Crit Discord, take part in our discussion groups, and join our casual games board to be able to play more tabletop content. Thank you, and enjoy the episode.
Before you stand upon the threshold of Maliborough, a city at the crossroads between many other destinations this side of the Covenwell Mountains, which loom large over the city proper. It's been a long journey to get here through the forested expanse behind you, but an uneventful one. Despite its name, Tenebrous Track was a benign and well-traveled road, and there was no danger to be had during the entire fortnight it took to get here. You did, however, hear many odd tellings of unsettling and strange events by people you passed on the road. Garan, you and Tedlington were in the same little caravan, same little wagon that was heading in this direction, and you had encountered what you sussed out to be a defector from the local militia. Do you recall what they had told you and the stuff that you had heard from him?
Yes, many things, many useful things. He abandoned his post due to fear of death and insanity. We asked about his captain Enoch, who he said could be found in the barracks. He threatened us from continuing our travels due to reports of earthquakes, strange shakes, strange days, members of the militia missing, strange sounds at night from the woods.
Our City campus is in ruins.
Yes, that was the last one.
Yeah. An old man had also passed both groups on the way, who had basically avoided discussion and talking at all, and basically was mumbling strange days repeatedly to himself. He didn't look great. From this information, you did find out that about a month ago, an earthquake had struck the area and destroyed large sections of the city. For the most part, there were no reported deaths as a result of this earthquake, but there's a lot of property damage, especially Miskatonic University, which is a wizarding college, had completely fallen through the ground. It was built on some unstable earth, and just a little bit of shaking was all it took, and the whole thing just caved in on itself. So that entire section of the city has been closed off. You all, for your own reasons, decided that after hearing these rumors to stick together as a group. You don't really know each other super well, you've only just met on the way here, but you had a little bit of time to talk and interact with each other over the course of the long trip here, and have decided, just in case, we're going to stick together as a group until we part ways to, head off in our own directions for whatever purposes we might be out here. Despite all these rumors and stories you've been hearing, the city proper is bustling with activity, with many people passing to and fro through the streets past the gate. The high stone walls that envelop Maliborough are patrolled by men armed with heavy crossbows, who march back and forth along the parapets listlessly, as if their hearts weren't in it. A manor sits atop a hill near the center of the city, surrounded by a secondary wall and guarded by tall, intimidating men in full plate armor. There's a signpost at the gate, and it's adorned with many wrought iron arrows painted with the names to direct travelers. They point towards Good Omen Square, Armitage Manor, Miskatonic Hill, Hollow Path, Upper Maliborough, the Militia Barracks, and Farsong Trail. I will also give you the map that I gave Garan before the game started. You're coming in through Tenebrous Track on the east. So what do you want to do? Where are you going?
Well, friends, firstly, I think we follow through on our promise to that lovely innkeeper and go check on Enoch, who's supposedly at the barracks, going to the militia and checking in on the state of affairs.
Interesting, okay. So is everyone just going to go ahead and head towards the barracks then, I'm assuming?
Once we get directions to the barracks, yes.
Okay. Since they're on the other side of the city, both signs pointing in that direction it's both Good Omen Square and the militia barracks. So you guys probably head in that direction. As you pass towards, between the various buildings, you do see, off to your left towards Hollow Path and the actual university campus that there are a few militia guards and people standing and keeping folks out of that area because it's still unstable after the earthquake, and they have not had time, or a month isn't enough time to fix the kind of damage this did. So you pass over to Good Omen Square. Various carts and stalls selling food line the square, with plenty of locals perusing their contents. The shadows of the 3-story buildings faintly shift along the cobblestone street with the passage of the midday sun, and you cannot help but feel a vague sense of unease at the furtive glances being cast your way when passers-by think you aren't looking. The sky has been choked with gray, listless clouds for most of the day, and only an occasional chilly breeze passes through the streets around you. As you are just taking a quick survey of your surroundings, you discover that one of the carts of vegetables seems to be devoid of a merchant. And these vegetables are very glossy and vibrant, like some of the most delicious-looking vegetables you've ever seen, almost unnaturally so. Despite the very appetizing appearance of the merchandise, the sign next to the cart states that they are free to be taken by anybody.
Okay. Thad is going to use his wand of detect magic, one of the charges.
Oh, okay.
To detect if there's something magical about the vegetables, because this is very sus to him.
Surprisingly enough, you burn a charge on your wand with no results at all. Doesn't seem like there's any magic affecting these vegetables.
And Hank will come up. I appreciate the precautions, but I think you need to take it a little easier, as I will take one.
Okay. What kind? There's eggplants, pumpkins, carrots.
I'll take a carrot.
Okay. You're just gonna put it in your bag? What you doing with it?
Yeah, I think I'll put it in my bag for later.
Okay.
Whenever you have been around some of the unscrupulous magical nobility I have, you can't be too careful. They love to experiment on common people all the time. It's bad.
Ooh.
I see.
That looks like the food my food would eat.
Yes.
Situated up against the outer walls of Armitage Estate, because the square actually borders the wall to the estate with the manor, lies a robust but quite old tavern. A sign hanging out front labels it as the Covenwell Cauldron in large cursive lettering. Below it, in faded paint, is the image of a bubbling cauldron filled with green liquid. Okay, you grab two of each, including what, the pumpkins? Alright, make a note of that. 2 pumpkins, 2 eggplants, 2 carrots, sure. As you are going about this, what is Garan doing?
I want to be taking a look at how people are moving around the cart, if they're avoiding it, if anyone else is taking something from the cart, and I'm also going to be looking out for the militia.
Oh, okay. So the only people touching the vegetables are you guys, your fellow party members. No one else has even come close to the cart. There's other carts next to it, but it's avoided, and you even notice that a couple of you have gotten sort of strange glance, sort of side-eyeing the folks that are actually interacting with these vegetables. As you guys are going about your business, sort of investigating these vegetables, you hear a commotion. The sound of somebody shouting. There's a mixture of fear and maybe a little bit of anger in the tone of their voice. It sounds like a young man basically shouting out, "Why are you ignoring me? Can someone help, please?"
My god, someone's in distress! I'll run immediately in that direction.
Thad will also follow, thinking, my goodness, someone might pay me.
Oh god, okay. As you approach the sound, you see a young man, maybe in his mid to late 20s, with a shock of messy, shoulder-length black hair. He's modestly dressed. He actually looks like he's dressed and ready to, go traveling. He seems to be calling out to just various people in the square who are ignoring him or making an effort to avoid him and not make eye contact. He speaks to one man. He's like, "Please, I need your help." And they brush by. He looks like he's been crying. His eyes are red. There's few tear stains on his face.
I run right up to him.
So does Thad.
Okay. Do you greet him in any way, or are you just going to walk up abruptly?
I walk straight up to him, brisk walk, direct, and I say, "Hello, lad. What is it that seems to be the problem?"
He does a double take and looks up at you, and then he looks at Thad, and he says, My sister, Abigail Pierce, she's been missing for weeks. She went to Myrefall on an errand and then never came back."
Oh, that is terrible. What errand was it?
He kind of seems a bit confused by your bombastic way of speaking. So he's just, She, went to get a family locket repaired with the blacksmith. Before he can finish anything further than that, all of you hear a loud commanding voice cutting through the noise of the square. It emanates from within the tavern. Shortly after, the door swings abruptly open, and two clearly inebriated men stagger out, their faces red and their eyes bloodshot. They stumble down the short steps and turn back as a tall, human man steps forth from within in full, shining plate mail armor. He has a trimmed, military haircut and a short, well-kept beard. He has an air of authority about him, but his face is grim and tired.
Okay, does this guy scream guard or militia or something to Thad?
Yeah, he has an air of authority. He looks like a guy in charge.
And am I getting, since my detect magic is still up, am I getting anything from that?
From him, no magic detected at all. No.
Okay, then I'm going to drop that and I'm going to switch to cast guidance.
On
myself.
All right, Garan, what was your response to the whole situation with the young man?
Well, I like watching Tedlington work. I was honestly looking to see if there was someone working with the young man who was trying to take his coin purse, because he was an awful good distraction.
Oh, interesting. Okay, with your insane passive perception, you have no hint of any kind of conning afoot. There's no sign of someone sneaking about as an accomplice. That's an interesting perspective. I didn't actually consider that. Wow. The commotion continues with the authoritative-looking man berating these two clearly members of the militia. I know that our recent losses have struck us hard, but that is no excuse to let yourselves fall to pieces this way. I won't allow it. The two men try to stand up straight and to make eye contact with the guy yelling at them. We have a duty to this town to keep its people safe from harm. What would Obadiah think of this shameful behavior, One of the men attempts to slur some form of response out, but is cut off. He'd be disgusted. Strange days are upon us, strange days, and I will not tolerate you both drowning in booze. Get a hold of yourselves, get sober, and get to your posts! He points off towards the barracks, and immediately the men stumble away without a word. And as they do, this man notices this unusual group of outsiders and the young man in front of you, and his face grows more weary than before as he approaches. Mr. Pierce, enough of this. Groveling at the feet of outsiders and locals alike. We already told you to stop this, that it was a lost cause. The young man, he says, it's not a lost cause. You how can you say that? You can't just give up on her, so do not take me for some black-hearted villain, Mr. Pierce. It pains me greatly to stop our search, but I cannot in good conscience send more of my men to some unknown fate. He then turns to look at all of you. I don't know what he has told you, but I don't want outsiders getting roped into this kind of nonsense.
Lucky for you, we're not outsiders. We're heroes!
Bad face palms.
So Garen's is kind of silently in the background watching all this play out. The look that this gruff and serious man gives Tedlington is one that's almost like an attempt to hide a sense of disdain for that kind of demeanor and attitude. He's like, are you crazy? Are you serious? Also, this dude's tall. He's easily the same height as you are, Tedlington, which is a pretty tall dude.
Pardon my compatriot, good sir, but wouldn't this be exactly the job for outsiders? If you are done dealing with it as a local matter, then we are new to town. Would this not be the perfect thing for outsiders to get involved in?
Are you trying to persuade him?
I'm trying to get him to continue talking.
He looks down at you. He doesn't look down he doesn't give you the same kind of look that he gave Tedlington. He says, absolutely not. We've lost enough people as it stands. I am not sending strangers or citizens or soldiers to die. The Baron has ordered all future rescue missions and trips to Myrefall to cease until spring. The young man says, by that time, if something's wrong, they'll be dead by then. He rubs his temples. Erwin, I know it's difficult. I know that she is your only family, but you have to let it go. If my best men have not come back, then I have very little hope for your sister.
What if we just went anyway?
You would have to go through me and my men first.
I'm surprised.
Tedlington, I think I see where this is going. The good captain here is caught between a rock and a hard place. He says he's not a Blackheart, but he is bound by his oath of fealty to the Baron. Meanwhile, this poor man, who I can identify with having family myself, he is distraught. But, of course, the guard captain doesn't have to worry about it because it's not his family.
You misunderstand me.
No, it's fine. You've got to do whatever the Baron says. I understand. It's not your fault. It never is.
He takes a big step forward, so that he's sort of like almost casting a shadow over you. Do not presume you understand my position, Spider.
Understand your position? No. Points 3 arms at the man groveling. Understand his position? I do.
I have lost 10 of my best soldiers, and a citizen, plus an unknown fate for an entire town of 100 people. So if you'll excuse me, I think you do not understand, pardon my language, jack shit. And I would ask that you please refrain from making assumptions in the future.
Well, thank you, good sir. You just gave me some information that I had been paid to come here and gather. I have been paid to come here and find out what has been going on in this city and its surroundings. So I appreciate you helping me take care of my job.
If you are so determined to poke your nose in our business, and to throw your lives away, then you will have to speak to the Baron first.
Hank kind of pipes up. Where can we find him?
He just turns and looks to the left, to the wall, and the big manor on the hill. He pulls something out of a pouch. He pulls out like a piece of paper and scribbles something down on it before rolling it up and handing it to you, Hank. And he says, "Show that to the guards at the gate, and they will let you through. Do not misunderstand me. I sympathize and grieve for those we have lost, but I do not want to send more people to potentially suffer and die. I wish you the best of luck, should the Baron allow you access."
Are you sure they died?
No, but they were my best men, and they are not deserters, unlike some. Seems like something's a bit of a sore spot. Myrefall is not a faraway place. It is a farming town. It is less than a day's walk, and the place is otherwise safe, and has always been safe. So something terrible has to be amiss for my men to not return. Garan, the look on his face as he discusses this, it seems like there's something more that he's not talking about that seems to be paining him. There's a definite sort of aggressiveness to his demeanor that doesn't strike you as something that would normally be present. There's something that he's not telling you for sure.
About the fate of his men or the deserters?
About the fate of his men.
You are Enoch, yes?
He quirks an eyebrow. Correct.
I'm here to seek out Giles. Is he one of the ones you sent out?
His face sort of like, not softens, but like the sort of anger kind of like drains out of him, and he just seems tired. After Abigail Pierce went missing and Erwin reported that to me, I sent 2 of my best men, Obadiah and Jeremiah, to Myrefall to ascertain their whereabouts, and they did not return. So I sent 8 more, including Giles, to go and search, and they too did not come back. As it stands, I do not know the fate of any of them, but I do not have a lot of hope that it is a pleasant one.
That is going to preemptively... What's the dude's name that was begging us for help?
Erwin Pierce.
Thad's gonna put one arm up to his mouth like, shh, and another arm he's gonna pat him on the shoulder like, we're getting somewhere, just wait a minute.
He nods his head. He seems appreciative that you guys are making an effort. Enoch looks over at the party, and then he looks back at Erwin. I think it's foolish to go out there yourselves, but at this point, this might be the only option we have left. Do not hold your breath, Mr. Pierce, but I certainly hope that I am wrong. And with that, after handing the note to you, Hank, he turns and walks back towards the barracks without another word.
It was a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Hank will give like that classic old man chuckle at Tedlington. Well, I think we know where we're going next.
Erwin chimes in. Thank you. I really appreciate you doing this. Who are you? Why are you even here?
And I tell him, while I have like 2 hands on his shoulder, I point to myself with the other 3 on the other side, and I'm like, I am Thad Steelsilk. I have multiple reasons for being here, but nothing I have said so far is a lie. I do understand what it's like to have and try to protect a family, and I have been paid to come here and investigate.
I don't know who would pay you to come out here. We're so remote.
Someone who is interested. I go where the pay is. What can I say? And I may or may not be looking for a nice place to move my family to, away from the city where we are right now. You know.
He sort of looks grim after recent events. I don't know if anyone wants to live here now. I don't suppose you'd mind if I would come with you when you speak with the Baron.
You might want to bathe first.
Yes. And you also might want to let us do most of the talking and not sabotage yourself.
First he asks, bathe? Why would you say that?
Nobles have this thing about they don't like the smell of commoners like us.
He sort of looks at you, almost partially offended, snaps his fingers, and cleans up his face by casting Prestidigitation.
I clap and I'm like, wonderful, already taken care of.
I don't think the Baron is like you think he is, but that might be for the best. Okay, you've got an NPC with you now, Erwin.
Well, everyone else seemed to just be avoiding it. Figured he might be someone who would tell us what the deal is with the shiny vegetables.
He looks a bit nauseous. Those were, they came in from Myrefall. They were the last sort of shipment of vegetables before the earthquake. Well, no. He seems a bit confused. A lot has happened after the earthquake. They looked really good, but I wouldn't eat them. It's only surface level. You eat that, and it's the most foul and bitter and disgusting thing you've ever eaten. It's nauseating.
I know. Vegetables. Am I right?
You see Thad just kind of like stroking his chin, like you see the gears working and ideas working in his head as he says this.
Erwin looks at Tedlington and just looks at you like, sort of baffled. No, it's not because they're vegetables. It's almost like they're poisoned, tainted by something. I don't know. No one wants to eat them.
Well, whatever it isn't magical. I already checked for that.
And Tedlington will just chuckle and nod. Yes. Not because they're vegetables.
While Noah is looking, Hank will toss the carrot he had.
Oh, that's actually okay. Hank, where'd you put the carrot?
Probably like off to the side, like
In your bag or anything?
Yeah, my bag.
As you reach in to take the carrot and discard it, you are kind of searching around to find it. Like okay, I'm gonna get rid of this because I don't want to eat this. You can't seem to find it, and instead you find your fingers sifting through something that feels like a fine powder, almost like sand or dust.
That's disconcerting. So I will clean that out later.
Just a quick glance, you see that there isn't a carrot anymore. There's just a pile of fine gray dust in your bag, covering the rest of the stuff that was in there.
Great.
That's what you get, as far as I'm concerned.
What's so important about the locket?
He sort of scratches the back of his head. It was, family heirloom of sorts. It was made by the blacksmith, Breaker LeGrasse. He forged it for us out of some metal that they used to mine at the base of the mountains. It's very important to us, so Abby is going to get it fixed before we left. I don't want to waste any more time. I'm already worried that it might be too late. If you don't mind, we could take that note to the guards so we could speak with the Baron.
Let us be off.
The guards, standing on either side of this wrought iron gate, stop you as you approach. The woman on the left addresses you. No one is to enter the manor's grounds without express written permission from either the captain of the militia or the Baron himself. State your business.
Thad gestures to the one holding the note.
Hello, I am Hank Forwind, Paladin of Helm. I have received permission from the guard captain to speak with the Baron.
She takes the note from you curtly and then looks it over, lifts her visor on her helmet to look it over more closely. She glances between the note and the group with suspicion multiple times. Eventually, though, she does roll it up and hand it back. Very well. The Baron will see you. I will escort you to his door. No funny business.
Hank looks to the party.
Looks to Hank.
She turns and opens the gate and gestures for you to follow closely behind.
Okay.
As you all follow the guard through the gates, you are greeted by a large, sweeping lawn surrounding the manor. The hills are lush and green, though they are modest in their decor. They're devoid of any statues or fountains, as one might have anticipated from somebody in a position of wealth and power. The manor itself is just as plain. It's a large 3-story manor with the sloped roof of purple shingles, faded and flaking with age. A cylindrical tower is attached to the left side of the building, atop which lies a metal dome with a large telescope pointed outwards towards the mountains and the sky beyond. It seems to be probably about a 5-minute walk, if there's any discussion the party wants to have amongst themselves as the guard sort of escorts you across the lawn towards the building.
This is a much more practical building than I'm used to seeing from nobility. And you hear Thad say nobility like it's a dirty word.
Yes, it is quite nice.
I've never actually been in here before. I kind of was expecting it to be a bit fancier as well.
I must say, usually I find some sort of shaped topiaries, at minimum.
Or any topiaries.
Indeed.
It's actually kind of barren. Wait.
Atmosphere ruined. No need to flaunt your wealth.
I'm surprised about the telescope, though. Abby really loved astronomy. It didn't take the Baron for the kind of type.
Did she work here?
He laughs. No. We were going to the university together. We were planning on heading off to travel and adventure. Things kind of got disrupted, though.
I'm sure she'll be quite all right, Erwin. We'll find her.
I want to believe that.
I do. You'll come around.
He kind of looks at you. Are you... have you ever been disappointed in your entire life?
By other people? Absolutely.
He sort of seems like he's going to say something else. Why do you... never mind. And then he just decides not to follow through. The guard, actually, she says, if you don't mind, could you lower your voice?
Absolutely.
Terribly sorry, ma'am.
What is Hank doing?
I would say he's probably had a lot on his mind. The strange looks we've been getting have tipped him off early. He definitely feels there's something off here. Normally there's not this many eyes on people. Or on us specifically.
Okay.
He's silently at the front of the pack, probably right behind the guard, taking a look over the grounds and contemplating to himself what might be happening.
Okay. Garan, you're usually the quiet observational type. What's on his mind?
Mostly he's distracted thinking about the militia and the barracks. We do have to talk to the Baron about getting permission, but he wanted to talk to maybe some other members of the militia and find out what all was going on. And
Ooh, okay.
Enoch seems to be acting a little strange, like he's putting up a front.
Other than your little brief discussion and observations, the walk is uneventful. But you finally approach the manor, and the guard raps curtly upon the large wooden doors out front and waits with rapt attention for a response. She seems a little bit almost like she's taking her position too seriously, but at the same time, it seems like there's some strange things afoot and people are stressed out, so it might just be nerves. It takes about 30 seconds before there's actually a response. You actually see the guard raising her hand to knock on the door again when you hear through the door, yes, one moment, please. And opening inwards, out pops an older man, roughly 50 years of age. He's dressed relatively humbly for one of his position, not unlike the clothes of most people in town. It's a bit more garish in color, being rich, deep purple with maroon accents around the seams. He has a full, bushy black beard that is graying with age, and a fancy mustache that seems to be very well cared for. He says, "What may I do for you?" Visitors, of course! Enoch sent word. Please, come in. It's a pleasure to meet you. He seems really jovial. My name is Warren Waitley Armitage. And he ushers you all inside, and at the same time, he, with a wave of his hand, like a shoo, he shoos the uptight guard away as he does so. No, go back to your post, it's fine. And you can see her roll her eyes from behind her visor before she just turns and marches away. The manor is much fancier on the inside, with glass cases on wooden pedestals, each containing gemstones or chunks of rock and ore sitting carefully on a little pillow inside, or more on a stand, like you would see in a museum. Ahead, across a lush carpet, lies a doorway leading into a large study with tall bookshelves that reach the high ceiling. Two of the curving staircases border the door on the left and right that lead up to the upper floors of the manor. He kind of looks the five of you over, and he sort of when someone's thinking and they have facial hair, they sort of rub their fingers around the mouth over the beard. He's sort of doing that while thinking. Enoch tells me you are insisting on passing down Farsong Trail to Myrefall. Have his words of warning not been enough to convince you to sway your course?
They have not.
Eyes widen. They don't bug out, but they widen at the volume and sort of enthusiasm that comes through in your tone. Very cheerful you are.
Just spoke with him, and he was already here and left again.
He looks at you with a sly grin that you would see from an old man, and he taps his temple and he says, "Magic, my friend. Message."
Quite the useful spell. But yes, when we heard word of these missing people, it is not in my nature to ignore such a call to action. I understand the warnings, but I think this is why I'm needed.
He gestures for you all to follow him as he heads into the study. He clasps his hands behind his back as he talks. "I appreciate your willingness to help, but I feel like there's more to the situation than you yet know." Erwin opens his mouth to speak, but the Baron silences him with a word by holding out his hand. "I know of your sister, Erwin Pierce. Your family has lived under my own family's watch for a very long time. I sympathize with your plight, but I don't think you grasp the possibility that these acts of desperation, regardless of motive, will have serious and terrible consequences for you and your new friends, should you head to Myrefall." He snaps his fingers and casts Mage Hand, which grabs a book off of a high shelf and brings it to him. "This region is not known for its earthquakes. I'm sure you have all heard the rumors and hearsay and seen the destruction firsthand.
Indeed.
The last earthquake that struck this region was, He flips through the pages, and he holds up a pair of, reading glasses that are on, a stick. He looks over the book and he says, "Over 1,000 years ago. By these records, I have reason to be fearful of more at play than just a geological event. What has Enoch told you?"
He told us that he sent 2 people, and then 8 people, and none have returned from Myrefall.
His eyebrows furrow as he closes the book, and he just drops it, and the Mage Hand catches it and pulls it back away from him. "Enoch has been hesitant to share the full story, it seems. The second group of soldiers who were sent to search for Abigail Pierce, for Obadiah and Jeremiah, one man did return, Robert Gardner. He was mad. Stark, raving, mad. He babbled and tittered fearfully, mostly nonsense, but one thing he seemed to repeat amongst his fearful gibberings was, 'The Farlight. The Farlight took them. It took them all.'" He puts his lorgnette down. "His armor was half melted to his flesh, crushed and misshapen as if exposed to some sudden and extreme heat, and his eyes were pale and sightless. I had initially feared some wild beast, perhaps even something disastrous, such as a purple worm, had been disturbed by the quake and disrupted the path to Myrefall, but even a gargantuan beast like that couldn't strike a man of sound mind insane." He's sort of looking over, he's just kind of looking over you all now and seeing your responses or how that news is being taken.
So Hank will, I assume we were given a place to sit. He will be so his elbow is resting on his leg and his hand is on his chin, and he's intently listening to what he has to say.
Okay.
Tedlington is stroking his stubble and nodding gravely, but also occasionally sort of just looking at the books. It's hard to tell how much attention he's really paying.
How much attention is he paying, as the Dungeon Master would like to know?
He's definitely getting the gist of it, but when someone starts talking about how dangerous things are, those are the parts he doesn't care about. But he pays attention to names and directions and things like that. Danger does not frighten him. He's not concerned by danger, so water over a stone.
Okay. Erwin definitely seems a bit surprised by this information. Seems that he might have missed some of it. There were rumors, of course, of insanity, and you guys had heard some of that information from the defector on the way here.
Dad's just sitting there kind of just nonplussed, okay, I've seen a lot of weird crap.
Okay.
He's kind of I'll see it and make my own assumptions. He's not exactly skeptical, but he's not very affected in any way by it, really. It's just kind of okay, this is more data, we'll see how true it is.
Okay. What about Garan?
I'm looking around the library, books that he's got on his desk, other things, while he talks.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Are you walking around and examining things, or are you just kind of standing there and observing?
I'll move around a bit, but I'm not going to touch anything.
Okay. He doesn't seem to mind that much. He's by all means. Some of the books you've seen on his table there's one that seems to be a bestiary. It actually is opened to an entry for a purple worm. It's just sitting there on the table. There's various scribblings. Most of it seems to just be notes and theories and concern, trying to figure out what's going on. There also seems to be a letter that's being written. You're probably not trying to be super nosy, but there
Kind
seems
of am.
Oh, okay. I mean, you're a rogue. Why not? Let's do a stealth check. See if you can, like, get anything out of that without being noticed. Wow, dang. Yeah, 19. You do that flawlessly. It seems to be a letter written to, like, a neighboring city or kingdom somewhere else to request aid and relaying information as far as what he has already told you in an effort to find people to help. Because they're very isolated and there's not much that they can do. It doesn't seem to be finished. There seems to be a few discarded ones that have been, like, tossed aside that are just kind of crumpled on the table.
So a plea for disaster relief.
Basically, yes. He continues, I intended to wait until spring so I may call for aid of more experienced individuals to investigate the matter, but it seems that fortune may have dumped some directly into my lap.
It certainly has.
If it's experience you're after, I have, 600 years under my belt?
Oh, you don't look a day over, I'm gonna say, 192?
He knows you don't understand, but he thanks you anyway.
The Baron actually nods to Hank, and he looks sort of inquisitively at Tedlington, but again says nothing really in response to the strange enthusiasm. I fear for the people of Myrefall, as well as this great city. I cannot get a good view of the town from here, even with my telescope. It's too deep in the valley beyond for it to be easily seen, so I have no way of determining the full extent of this disturbing disappearances in silence. If you are willing to investigate, I will authorize the militia to let you through. However, I cannot in good conscience send any more soldiers out should you also fail to return. He snaps his fingers, and Mage Hand pulls some stuff out of a little drawer that was in the table and drops a large chest onto the table. If you can find information, or even survivors, and bring them back, anything, any news at all, perhaps even solve the problem at hand, I'm willing to pay you handsomely for the deed. He opens the box, and it's just filled with gold coins. And he says, this may seem like overkill, 6,000 GP.
Thad very quickly looks down at the gold, looks at the Baron, looks at the gold, looks at the Baron, looks at the gold, looks at everybody else, looks at the Baron, looks at the gold.
Thad, I understand your concern. We don't need any money for our services. We're just happy to help.
Immediately, the moment he gets to the point, we don't need that, shoots a hand up and over his mouth and like, no.
The Baron is laughing at this, actually. He actually finds that, like, he's like doing that old man chuckle. He actually thinks that's very funny what's happening.
And that's like, no, forgive my associate. He doesn't understand the need for rations and everything else. It's ignore him. I don't know if I speak for the rest of the group, but as for me, this sounds like a very amenable agreement to come to.
I will say, however, feel free to inspect it, of course. I don't want to be seen as a cheat. He says, as I've said, I am not sending any more of my people out there. No one will come to your aid should you fail to return. Consider yourselves, to put it bluntly, disposable. You are my last option.
I understand the circumstances, and that is a risk I am willing to take. And he looks to the rest of the group to see if they're in agreement.
Of course, friend Hank.
Garan?
I have no objection.
Okay. Erwin also speaks up. I'm going as well.
Now, little buddy, it could be dangerous for you.
Abigail is my only family. I am a wizard, I am capable, and Myrefall is my home. I have to find out what happened, and I have to save my sister.
I see. If there is conviction in your heart, then I won't stop you.
To be fair, I would want to do the same in his position.
Well, stick close to me, little one, and I'll take care of you.
Little one?
You see Thad just put his finger over his mouth like, shh.
It's a term of endearment on account of your small size.
Let it go. He does this all the time. It's okay. Let it go.
Yeah, he rolls his eyes.
I'd like to do an insight check just to see if everything that he's saying seems above board.
Yeah, go for it. Let's do it. Quite surprisingly, I don't know where your travels have taken you, but you're used to folks in positions of power kind of being deceitful or self-serving. There isn't a hint of anything like that here. He's being completely genuine, from what you can tell, just based on the things he said and like his demeanor and expression.
Is there anything that you know of that might have precipitated this earthquake or caused it?
As I said, I've been doing my own research. He taps the book with the mage hand. But, as I said, purple worms are big and deadly, and they are native to the mountains, but they don't tend to get this close. I can't imagine a purple worm has the capacity to drive a man insane. They're just a big worm. He kind of chuckles. They can swallow a man whole and dig through solid rock, but they don't have any effect on the minds of men. I really do not know. I fear that maybe it was just an earthquake. Maybe something came in from below. Maybe it opened a passage to the Underdark. I can't possibly imagine. I will say, I would recommend at least making an effort to try and speak with Mr. Gardner, but do not expect much. He's been interred at the infirmary within the barracks since his return 4 days ago.
All right. That seems to be our first course of action.
Baron, I had one other message to pass on. Apparently the local towns and villages have not been receiving messages from Maliborough as of late, and they're growing concerned.
It is getting near the winter. Travel tends to be slower as we approach the winter season. We get a lot of snow that cuts us off from elsewhere. Along with this obvious earthquake, I think it's not a surprise that word has been scarce. Their concern is noted and appreciated, but I doubt they'll be able to help us with this situation.
I'm sorry, Baron. Did anyone tell you about the vegetables in the cart in the market?
Yes. I've heard rumors. What about these vegetables?
And I'll point to Erwin and let him tell it.
Erwin, looks at you and then looks at the Baron, the last shipment of produce from Myrefall, it was, the vegetables, they look good to eat, but they're foul and make people sick when they do. They're bitter and disgusting. The Baron seems kind of, surprised at this, and he, snaps his finger, and, he sort of is mouthing something quietly. I did not know this.
I've never seen anything quite like it. And if it's from, Myrefall, Purple Worm definitely doesn't do that.
No.
Thad reaches into his bag of holding to pull out one of the carrots.
You do so, and you do not pull out a carrot. You pull out half of a carrot that now is losing its color from a pile of dust. The carrot, even as you hold it, starts to disintegrate into a fine gray powder before you can even, show it to the Baron.
So it was, deteriorating inside the bag of holding?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I may not be an expert on vegetables, but that does not seem right.
No, I don't think you are. I didn't know they were doing that. They still look fresh in the cart. The Baron starts pacing, and he even, pulls a few books off the shelves and starts to look through them himself. I've never seen anything like this. Myrefall has always produced quality vegetables for as long as I've been Baron of Maliborough. I've sent word to the guards in the city. They will, at the very least, cart them away so people aren't fooled into eating something that could harm them. He just seems kind of at a loss for words.
I am concerned. Who put the cart of vegetables there and the sign calling them free? They must have known they were worse than normal vegetables, I assume.
Those in Myrefall, they bring the carts here to sell, and then we have local merchants actually take a cut of the profit. They sell the vegetables here, and then they send most of the money back to Myrefall. I imagine that some of the merchants in town might have tried them and found them to be bad, but didn't want to squander their investment, I guess. But why give them away? That is very concerning. It seems that we have some people in town I wish to speak with. But that is not your concern. I will worry about that, along with everything else. As it stands, I wish you all luck.
Thank you for your time. I think with that, I'll be on my way.
You've been most helpful. It was a pleasure making your acquaintance.
And he has sort of not a sly smile, sort of an amused smile on it. Likewise. Don't worry about an escort. The guards are a bit stuck up. You'll be fine. Just head back to town.
Before I leave the room, I'd like to roll a perception check to see if I notice any hidden compartments or anything like that around here.
Interesting. Okay. Might I ask why? What's the motive?
I'd just like to disconcert the Baron if possible.
Rude. Okay. Do it. Sure. 12. All he says is, I would appreciate it if you'd be careful. Some of these things are passed down through my family for a long time, and I would like them to not be damaged.
Oh, it was just perception. I wasn't actually touching.
Oh, kind of being nosy, I guess. That's probably what he was like. He was like, look, but don't touch, in regards to like his geodes and such. You guys head back to town, and Erwin seems a little bit nervous. It's been long enough. I'm concerned about Abby, but I think it might be wise to just try and find out as much as we can. I didn't even know that someone came back. I don't know why Enoch would keep that a secret.
He probably didn't want to try to give you false hope.
It probably just slipped his mind. To continue on to this gardener fellow, I assume he told us where to find him.
Yeah, he said he was in the infirmary.
Yes, onward. I agree. We should know all we can.
Okay. As you pass back through the square, the atmosphere of the town shifts from chaotic and busy to solemn, but orderly. As you set your feet within, like, the malicious district, you're given free pass by the guards outside. Usually this area is off limits for the main citizenry because, it's like a training area and a staging ground for the guards, so. Many stone-faced men walk by silently, without a passing glance, while others can be seen through half-shuttered windows, nursing large bottles of booze. There's a strange air about the place. One of mourning, but also something else. You're unsure what. The buildings here are not much different from the rest of the city, but they're much cleaner and well kept. The cobblestone paths between the buildings are free of debris and trash. It seems Enoch runs a tight ship. You can run across a sign as you enter a large open courtyard bordering the west wall of the city, where a few men can be seen with pikes and halberds stabbing at training dummies. Left, infirmary, and right, mess hall.
Seeing this, Hank will your left then.
Thad's going to go with whoever's going to the infirmary.
I've got a little experience with some of these organizations. I'm just going to find the person that we need to check in with to get permission to see someone inside the infirmary when they're being held like that.
Oh, okay. So everyone's heading that way then, okay. Erwin's sort of tagging along quietly. He doesn't have much to say at the moment. Probably also, he seems like he's like mid-late 20s, probably like 26, 27, but he doesn't seem like the hugely social type, at least not initially. The infirmary is rather nondescript, nor much different than the rest of the area, save for the sign hanging up front. A wrought iron piece is depicting a skeletal hand reaching upwards, grasping at a set of scales. There's a ghostly white tiefling man with piercing red eyes standing sort of on like the landing directly in front of the door leading into the building. Their garb makes it abundantly clear that they are a cleric. He holds out a hand and speaks softly. I apologize, but the infirmary is closed for visitation at present.
I have received a word from the Baron. I need to speak with a Mr. Gardner.
The Baron sent you. One moment, please. And he opens the door and peeks inside, and you can hear whispering? And then they like nod their head and pop back out, and then they turn. Okay. We've told the Baron that we've only just managed to get the man to sleep, as fitful as that sleep may be, but please come in. The tiefling leads you down the corridor, past multiple rooms lined with empty beds. It's sort of a narrow hallway.
Who's been tending to him?
I have. Me and the lead nurse. We've had very little success with anything other than getting him to sleep, and even that took considerable effort. They lead you down the corridor, past multiple rooms lined with empty beds. There don't seem to be any other people actually interred right now, which I guess is a good thing. The wooden floors creak noisily in the otherwise quiet building as you approach the last room on the left. Robert Gardner lies asleep at the far end of the room, though it seems far from a restful sleep. They twist and writhe in bed like a worm, knocking aside their sheets and sending their pillow to the floor. The tiefling sort of steps into the room opposite his and starts speaking quietly with the head nurse, who seems to be like a very serious and tall and thin elven woman.
What does Gardner look like?
Roll perception.
Or perception. I think Hank will wait until he's prompted to enter.
Oh, they probably should have done that. Okay, yeah, go for it. That's not great.
He's got a foggy eye. He's not great at seeing.
The tiefling, they have a brief, like, very quiet conversation, and then he turns back and he says, please, go right in and be careful.
Be careful.
Basically, don't stress him out. He's already not doing great,
Right.
basically.
Okay.
I'll ask the nurse, do you have any idea what he's afflicted with?
Are you asking the tiefling or the elven woman?
Just kind of to both of them, just kind of as a general.
Okay. They sort of share a glance before the tiefling responds. We don't know. He's frail and ill, and we don't understand what's going on. We've never seen anything like it, and nothing seems to be working.
Thad is going to recast guidance.
Gotcha.
The paladin's the one that's probably going to do the medicine check, right? Yeah, so I'm going to put guidance on him.
Okay. I'm assuming you guys head in then, with their permission.
I just want to know what he said, if anything.
They sort of look back at each other and they seem a little bit nervous and almost pained, like recalling the things he said is upsetting. And the tiefling says, he's babbled and rambled about nothing. We haven't been able to get much out of it. Something about Farlight. Robert is heavily bandaged. His chest must have been badly burned from the melted chest plate that Armitage told you about. He also has a gauntness to him that seems unsettling, as if something about his face was off kilter or uncanny. Try as you might, you cannot seem to place why. There's just a general sense of unease that his appearance gives off as you approach the end of the room and his bed.
I'll look to the group. So how do you suppose we go about this?
Why don't you check him? See if you can find out what's wrong.
All right. I'll give it a shot.
Medicine check? Okay, let's go for it. Sure. Wow, because you rolled a 4 on a medicine check, so there was no real finesse, unfortunately. You were trying to check him over to see what's wrong. Unfortunately, you've seen a condition maybe similar to that. Someone being gaunt and frail like that would probably be, starved or something. But the situation is unusual, and you're not really sure what's wrong. As you're examining him, his eyes shoot open, and he leans up and grips you by the arm, and he begins to ramble again, though he seems a bit more focused than how he had been previously described. The Farlight! It took them. It took them all! And he seems real frantic. It was so cold and wet, but it burned and seared like dragon fire. So bright, it hurts. Like smoke, it was, but it wasn't. It was alive. It stole them away. He then begins to scream and thrash about in his bed, covering his face and attempting to claw out his eyes. They crumbled to dust in my arms! Their faces! Oh, by the gods, their faces! What was wrong with their faces?
The moment he makes a move to try to claw at his eyes, Thad will grab his hands and try to restrain him.
Just a straight up, strength check. Go for it. You have advantage because you're a spider. You got a lot of arms.
I have advantage, okay.
And while he is doing that, I will try and keep talking to him. Calm yourself. Where were they taken?
He just continues repeating himself about the Farlight at this point, and that's an 11. You're able to keep him from injuring himself. During the course of that, his screaming alerts the clerics, and they rush in quickly, and with a silent wave of her hand, Robert falls unconscious. The elven woman now turns her piercing gaze to you guys. You need to leave. As you can see, he is not in the right state of mind to be interrogated or spoken to.
That is an understatement.
I understand the Baron has hired you for something. I don't know what you can do, but you are of no help here.
Neither are you.
Excuse
Now,
me?
Garan, that is uncalled for. I apologize for my friend. I believe I have garnered more than enough information I need here, though. Thank you for allowing us to examine him.
She just silently holds out her hand and gesturing towards the door. You notice that Erwin has actually kind of stepped back. He's backed all the way to the entrance to the room, and he seems a little bit shaken by the outburst.
I'd like to ask the tiefling where Gardner was found. And who found him?
Ah, very good point. He turned between the very scary, serious, probably head cleric, and then back to you before he says, he stumbled back into town. He was found just outside the Far Song Trail gate.
Who found him?
The guards on duty. I don't know their names. They didn't tell me.
You don't recognize them? You're not familiar with the guards?
Not all of them. Though the elven woman speaks up, he's still new.
Okay. Why What about you? Do you know which one it was? Or which pair?
The individuals that you're seeking are Theodore and Flint. They are currently on guard duty at the Farsong Trail gate. If that is all that you have, leave.
Thanks for your time.
And thank you.
I'll go.
With that, Hank will get his things and he will leave.
Okay.
What was he wearing?
He was just bandaged. He sits heavily bandaged around his chest. He was otherwise not wearing anything because as the Baron told you, the armor was melted to his flesh.
Yeah.
So.
Can I make an Arcana or History check regarding Farlight?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to guide myself and also make the check.
Okay. That's a 12. And that's a 20. Okay. Well, you have never heard this term before in your life. Neither of you have. And I imagine that Thad has been a lot of places. I mean, he's probably talked to a wide variety of people, especially based on his profession.
I've stolen information from a wide variety of people.
You have never in your entire life heard anything like this. This kind of terminology, it is not familiar at all. It seems more to you like, well, the ramblings of a madman, or someone who may be trying to apply words to something they don't understand.
You see Thad kind of like stroke his chin for a minute and think, it's like, so he says they crumbled to dust, like those vegetables that came right after the earthquake.
Yes, I was thinking that as well. If I were to guess anything, there might be a correlation.
I agree. Perhaps these people are turning into vegetables.
Sir, my question, what do you think is happening here? Do you think this is like a joke? Or some kind of, heroic adventure that someone's gonna write stories about? Why are you even here?
All I need to know is that people are in need, and it sounds like people are in need today. And here I am. Where I come from, it's not so much the reasoning, the why, the how, the where, the when. It's just that there's a need.
At this point, Erwin kind of cuts himself off, and he stops that, and he sort of rubs his hands through his hair, and he shakes his head. I apologize. I'm sure you have good intentions, we can't keep wasting time. Every new bit of information I learn makes me all the more concerned. I have to find out what happened.
You waited this long?
Yeah, long enough, I think. At this point, your destination is Farsong Trail, which is the path that leads to Myrefall specifically. I assume everyone's ready to head off to the gate?
Indeed.
Yes.
You head back through the courtyard. There are fewer soldiers out here doing their usual thing at the training dummies, and back towards Good Omen Square, before turning down a further path to head towards the Farsong Trail gate. And as you do, you actually see that the cart that had all the vegetables, it's gone. You actually see evidence that it had been carted away. There's even a little bit of that same dust on the ground below the cart where it used to be, which leads you to believe that some of the vegetables may have started to powderize even as they were sitting in the cart. At least that's been taken care of, so folks can rest assured that people will not get sick from continued attempts at consumption. But as you approach the gates leading out of Maliborough and down towards the valley beyond, you start to notice the crowd of people thinning out. By the time you actually get close enough to the lattice-work gate to see that it's shut and to see the guards on duty, the streets nearby are all but empty. Several armed guards bar the way, and they cross their halberds as you approach. An elven man says, "By the order of the Baron of Maliborough, Farsong Trail is closed for travel until spring. The path has grown unsafe."
For such good communications techniques, the news travels very fast to the Baron and very fast from him, it seems. The Baron has hired us to go this way. Check with him yourself if you don't believe me.
He sort of quirks an eyebrow at you, and the other guard speaks up. "Apologies. It seems that not everyone got word," and he kind of looks over and "Get your shit together," to the other guy. He nods his head, and he sort of signals to some folks up on the upper wall that head into a little tower, and you hear the sound of mechanical bearings and gears spinning as the gate starts to raise. And the guy on the right, he says, "I think you're all foolish to go. Our best men went there, and now they're lost. If you think you fare better, then so be it. It's not like anyone's going to go looking for you."
And Thad just kind of like gestures like after you to Tedlington, since he's all gung-ho about it.
Why, thank you, Thad. Come on, Erwin, onward.
Yeah.
Are either of you Theo or Flint?
Yes. The elf says, I'm Theo, and he is Flint. What is to you?
You the ones who found Gardner?
His face goes from like, you know the kind of bravado that someone newly in the military has? Like sort of like, look at me, I'm better than you, to folks in
Like the brand new ensigns.
Sort of, yeah. Like, that bravado disappears in like a blink of an eye the moment you bring up that man's name, and he suddenly looks really queasy. Yeah, yes, we did.
Can you tell me about that?
He was... And then Flint, the other guy, speaks up. Gardner was a mess. He looked like someone dunked him in lava and bleached his hair. I almost didn't recognize him. I've never seen anything like that happen to any of the people that I've ever worked with. I don't know what else you want. Are you, like, accusing us? Like, what do you think we could have done?
No, we're heading that direction for all the wrong reasons, and anything you can tell me might give us a heads up on something. So if you notice anything strange, or if you said anything, or if you smelled something, saw something else strange at the same time but couldn't handle because, well, your friend was there like that.
Theo speaks up and kind of interrupts. He says, stay on the path. Stay on the path. We've been hearing unusual sounds at night. I don't know what they are. I don't know. We keep the gates closed, but...
See, this is useful information.
Flint chimes in and like sort of continues where Theo leaves off. He's right. Normally there's no harmful wildlife out here, birds. There's occasionally like I've seen a bear once or twice, but they stay off the path. It's always been a safe walk between here and Myrefall, but I doubt it is anymore. Stay on the road. It's a straight shot to the town.
Thank you.
God help you. At this point, the gate is fully open, and you are free to leave.
Hank will probably be the last one to leave. You're doing a fine job, gentlemen, as you were. And he says to the guards as he leaves.
They kind of seem kind of surprised by the pleasant attitude, considering they were kind of being a bit rude at the start. You head out the gate onto the trail. The path is lined on both sides by thick evergreen forest, and the cobblestone of the city streets quickly gives way to a dirt road a few feet out of the gate. Flint and Theo unceremoniously shut the city gates behind you with a loud clang upon your exit. The path slopes forwards and a little bit to the left, slowly and gradually down into the valley, where Myrefall lies. It is not currently visible from where you are standing. Erwin takes a few tentative steps ahead of everybody else and sort of looks out before turning and saying, thank you for your help. Sincerely, I don't know what I may have done if I had to wait any longer. I was liable to get thrown in jail for causing a ruckus. He sort of looks up at the mountains, which you guys can all clearly see. They basically dominate the horizon ahead. Me and Abigail have lived in the shadow of these mountains our whole lives. It's always been a safe haven for travelers. He turns back to you guys and he sort of like holds out his hands. I don't know what could have changed, earthquake or not.
There are many unknowns here. We should stay on our guard. Who knows what lies ahead?
The Farlight, or whatever that might be. We should definitely hurry. The walk is going to take most of the afternoon just to get there. At this point, it's like midday. So y'all are out here outside of the gates on Farsong Trail.
I think to start, Hank will, as he's looking up at the mountains ahead, he'll pull out a sketchbook from his painter supplies, and he'll start like kind of with a slow hand sketching out the things as we are walking along.
Oh, okay, so you're just going to be doing like a landscape thing while you're walking? Okay, cool. No, you don't even need to do a check for that. That's cool. I like that. Very skilled for you to be able to do that well while also walking.
Practice.
Yeah.
I've had at least 70 years to get acquainted.
Man, jealous of elves have all that time to develop new skills. What are the others doing? I know that Garan wanted to ask Erwin something or speak with Erwin about stuff as you guys walked.
Yeah, I'll ask him why he didn't use mending on the locket when he mentioned he could have earlier.
He sort of scratches the back of his head. Abby actually insisted that I don't. It's hard. Not to seem rude, I don't want to just dump my life story on people I barely know, but our parents passed away when we were young, and the local blacksmith is the one who's been raising us all this time. He made it, and Abby wanted an excuse to see him one more time before we left town to go adventuring. So it was easier to have an excuse to go see him than just snap my fingers and be done with it.
Why didn't you go with?
He seems kind of pained. Breaker sort of disagreed with my decision to leave. He actually was an adventurer himself. Been doing it for a long time before he even came to Myrefall to settle down. He used to tell us stories of his adventures when we were kids, but he never really wanted us to have that kind of life, I guess. And I disagreed with him. I want to see the world. I want to help people. So does Abby. That's why we went to school, to learn magic. I didn't really want to have that kind of discussion with him, I guess. He seems a little bit embarrassed. Uh-oh, I said too much.
If Tedlington is nearby enough, which I think he would be, he said he would keep an eye on him, he will nod very approvingly to this story of wanting to set out on your own for adventure and to do good works. We're not so different, you and I, except for mostly the height thing. But maybe you'll grow.
Thank you, I guess.
Well, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I've been doing this for quite a long time. 6 months, in fact.
He always means well.
If you need an extra shirt to sleep in, just ask him. He's got plenty.
Yes.
I don't even want to know what that's supposed to mean. So it's actually nice out as you walk. It's still again, you're on the cusp of winter. It's November at this point, so it's really starting to get cold. You can see your breath. It's sort of like a crisp day. Garan, you're a very perceptive dude. It's taken a little bit. Maybe it's been about an hour of some chit chat with each other and with Erwin. And you've been quietly maybe trying to figure out what it is until you finally realize it's completely quiet. Aside from the wind, you don't hear any birds. You don't hear any animals. There is no sound of wildlife out here at all. Not a cricket, not a bug, not a thing.
I'm going to tap my cane against things as I walk, and I would like to know if the sound seems dampened or distorted, or if it's just ghostly silent forest.
Interesting. Okay. You don't really need to make a check for that. You tap a couple trees here and there, and sounds like you would expect it to sound when you tap a tree trunk. Whenever there's a breeze, you hear that the leaves rustling. It's eerily quiet otherwise.
Someone make some noise.
Where do you want the noise? Here, out in the forest, what?
Just around and about, my friend.
I'm going to pick a stone up off the ground and use magical tinkering to emit the sound of chirping, and you can hear it 10 feet away.
Okay.
It lasts indefinitely or until I end it. And I'm specifically doing an animal noise, and I'm going to toss it a little ways away into the woods in one direction. And I'm going to take another one and do the same thing off on the other side of the road, but I'm going to make the chirps a different type of chirp. The reason I'm picking an animal noise is because if something is getting rid of the animals, and there's an animal noise...
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you toss these rocks onto the left and right of the path, and as you do this, there is no indication that there's anything attempting to snuff out sound. The proper amount of time passes, and the sounds only cease when you have made too many, and the previous ones have lost their enchantment. No indication that there's something hidden in the woods that's taking out wildlife. Erwin does seem a little bit nervous regardless. I thought something didn't feel right. He doesn't really have anything to say on the matter. He just shudders. I'm going to say maybe another couple hours has passed.
So Hank kind of put away his book a little while ago, watching Thad kind of do that thing with these little rocks. So where'd you learn how to do that?
A combination of living among magical people and my own kind of spin on things. You see, where I come from, flicks a rock. The more magical you are, the higher up in the nobility you are, and let's just say my family, flicks another rock, was conscripted out of our home in nature into the city to be soldiers for this magical nobility. Then my parents died, and my sister and I have been taking care of the family since.
Every time you throw a rock, his head kind of tracks it as it flies into the woods.
So I'm not one of the upright and outstanding members of society, and that's a point of constant contention between my sister and I, but I digress. You see, all of these nobles hate each other, and they all want in power of each other, so I make a buck off of it. And to match them, I come up with methods of magic and artifice, you might say, that give me an edge over them.
So you are an artificer.
Yes, that is something I do.
I had a feeling. I was considering maybe following that line of profession, but I don't know. Not creative enough for it, I think. That's very cool. I didn't actually think that I would meet someone like that out here. Why are you coming all the way here? We live in the middle of nowhere.
Like I said before, I understand your plight with your sister, to a degree. Let's just say my family is still in that same city with that same nobility that conscripted my parents, and I'm looking for a better place away from that. Which is why the 6,000 gold, or however much split among us that would be very helpful in moving them out of that.
I think 6,000 gold would help anyone with any problem they might have, if I'm honest.
I'm all about money, but I'm all about money for good reason.
Pardon me, I'm a little ignorant about your sort, but how big is your family?
Oh, well, there aren't any hatchlings since my parents died, but there's my sister, and then there's 2 younger brothers and 2 younger sisters after that, so 6 in total. My sister is kind of the mother of the family. Seamstress, she makes amazing garments out of her own silk. Beautiful works of art. But since she is a commoner and not one of the artisans of merchant or noble descent, her goods are somewhat looked down upon, although other people have no problem buying them. And I'll have one of the garments in my bag, and I'll pull one. See, look at this craftsmanship. This is amazing.
Yes, it's quite impressive.
Yeah. Erwin actually follows up. If you're looking for somewhere to move, before all this, I would have said Myrefall. It's beautiful. The grass is lush and green. The smell of the air is, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it's definitely better than the city. They'd make you feel like family, even if they barely knew you.
I say all this to say, I can kind of understand where you're coming from.
He sort of smiles. I've heard you and I appreciate it, but I don't know how to respond kind of smile. And this conversation is interrupted. Garan, you see something before anybody else. There is something large barreling down the path towards you from the distance ahead.
We got incoming, and I'm going to get behind the paladin.
Erwin jolts away from the conversation and turns and looks, and he steps backwards and grabs. He has a magic book, clasped to his belt.
How far away is this thing?
I would say about 300 feet, maybe. Probably less than a minute.
Less than a minute? Okay, that's what I needed. Thad is going to pull a bit of silk out, wrap it around a tree, and you see him literally creating his own silk and kind of bringing a line across the road to another tree on the other side, and he kind of motions everyone to step back a little bit. I'm going to need one of you strong types with me.
What are you planning?
It's going so fast, it's making it so vulnerable. Give it a minute. Let it charge it through here down the road. It'll be fine.
While you're doing this, it has gotten closer. At this point, Tedlington, my boy, my heroic man who's super excited for adventure and laughs in the face of danger, you're the first to get a good, clear look at this thing. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Okay.
Question, how much rope am I using?
Yeah, 20 feet. You need that extra slack for tying things up. You rolled an 8. Oh boy, it's party time! What you see is an owlbear, or that's what you think it is at first. Something is amiss. Its face seems twisted, warped in a way that hurts your eyes. It is almost as if it's splitting in half, like cells undergoing mitosis, yet at the same time, it's not splitting in half at all. This contradiction kind of hurts to think about. You cannot seem to understand what you are seeing as this twisted thing hurtles towards you at breakneck speed, and it roars. Everyone hears this roar, and it does not sound like an owlbear at all. It's shrill and jittery, and it makes you sick to your stomach. The sight roots you to the spot, Tedlington, as a fear that you have not actually experienced before in your brief time adventuring steals your breath away and paralyzes you. You cannot move.
One more thing I would be doing during this while I'm stretching the rope across.
Okay.
I would be sprinkling caltrops from my bag of caltrops behind the rope.
Okay, you're making a speed trap like you're the cops.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Okay. So you've set this up. At this point, it is 50 feet away. Now that it's closer, let's have the rest of you make wisdom saves too. And I'll even do it for Erwin, because Erwin looks at this thing and all you really hear him say is, what? Alright, 14. Garan, again, you get to see very clearly this horribly disfigured. You don't know what's going on with this thing's face, but it ain't right. It's not something you've seen before. and you instantly feel like you need to throw up. And you have failed that save. This thing roots you to the spot in a fear that you've not really encountered before. Thad! It's lucky you did this before it got here, because that also does not save. Pretty much everyone here, the only person who saved is Hank and Erwin, who managed to maintain their composure at seeing this clearly twisted creature get ever closer to this trap that Thad has laid out. It roars shrilly one more time, doesn't even seem to divert its path towards anyone else. Fortunately, those who were startled were already assisting Thad with setting things up and were not in the middle of the road where it would have slammed into them.
Oh yeah, it's going way too fast to stop right now. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have it hit the silk rope and fall straight into the caltrops.
Okay.
Whenever it's too late to abort, pull the rope tight, let
Oh.
it trip, and go prone into the caltrops.
So the rope isn't taut yet. It was going to be made taut. You failed your wisdom save and are paralyzed with fear.
Yeah,
I guess Erwin and Hank are still unparalyzed, so I think Hank and
Yeah,
Erwin were probably picking up what you were putting down, so they were able to carry out what you couldn't because you were like, your reaction was unexpected.
Yeah.
So this will be a dex save, and they're going to have disadvantage because you're pulling it taut last second.
I'd also like to explain a visual. When Hank heard the roar, he immediately kind of got ready, and there was like a ball of light that formed on his hand, and it turned into a weapon. But then you guys told me to the side of the road, and he followed.
Okay, it rolled a 19 and then a natural 20 on that dex save.
Boy.
What happens, instead of the rope necessarily breaking, I think that because you guys were expecting Thad to pull the silk taut, it got pulled too late. You didn't have enough time.
I looked back and see that he wasn't ready, and I tried to reach for it.
Yeah, Erwin tries as well and fails, but fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on your thoughts, it plows through, takes that one damage as it just doesn't seem to even try to avoid the caltrops, and some of them get stuck in its paws and its legs, and it just keeps going. And it veers to the left and to the right, and then with one final shriek, slumps to the ground and slides. It continues to slide as its momentum carries it forward, and about 60 feet away, it is dead on the road.
Kind of speechless.
Yeah, Erwin is sort of like looking slack-jawed in awe before he shakes his head and then looks at everyone else. What? Are you... Hello? He kind of like goes over to like, I think Garan, and he's like, are you okay? And tries to shake him out of his like stupor. You're not in combat, so I will say make another wisdom save, everyone who failed, but with advantage. So that's Tedlington, Garan, and Thad.
A 12 and an 8.
The image of what you saw and what that thing looks like is still crystal clear in your mind's eye, and it actually takes the intervention of one of your party members to shake you out. Roll one more time, with advantage.
It's a 20 and a 17.
With the help of your non-stupefied compatriots, you are shaken free of this sort of paralyzing fear. The owlbear is dead.
Without a word, Hank is going to go take a closer look.
Thad's gonna go retrieve all of his caltrops that he can.
I'm not going near that thing.
You know what?
I
That's
got a good
fair.
enough look.
Erwin's not going anywhere near it either. He's staying with you. So Hank and Thad, and I imagine even after getting shaken out of his stupor, I'm assuming Tedlington is still kind of like dazed.
That thing looks disgusting. I'm not getting anywhere near it. Touching it with my bare hands? Vile. Barbaric.
The other thing Thad is going to do is, after he collects the caltrops, he's going to ritual cast Identify.
How long does the ritual casting take?
10 minutes.
Okay, here's the thing. As you guys approach it, and you're retrieving your caltrops, two things happen. Hank, you get one final good look at this thing. Up close, it hurts to look at. It seems like every time you blink, it seems like the configuration of its face is different, but there's something, you're getting an intense sensation of nausea. You feel the same sort of strange unease that you had when you were speaking with Gardner in the infirmary. There's a weird gauntness to this thing's twisted face, but you only get like a second of a glimpse. And even as Thad is like pulling out some of the caltrops, the color drains out of its body, and it promptly begins to just disintegrate and fall to pieces in not so pleasant of a fashion. Like its chest cavity caves in, revealing like its innards, which have all gone gray and pallid, which equally begin to just flake away like parchment in a fire. Within seconds, you are left with just a pile of dust on the road.
And Hank looks to Thad, and then looks back to what is now the pile of dust, and he'll say in his native tongue, "What in God's name?"
Erwin actually approaches after seeing that. What the hell is going on?
Well, I think we now have enough evidence to draw a connection between things.
I think you're right. Something terrible is going on.
I don't know if we have much time left.
We should move quickly.
Yeah. Yes, we should. God, Abby. How is Tedlington doing?
Checking himself over to make sure no flecks of blood or goop or any bit of that got on him as it ran past.
Okay. Garan, how are you doing?
I'm not doing.
So I'm assuming everyone just makes a silent, tacit agreement that book it.
I am going to collect a tiny bit of dust in a vial before we leave, but that's it.
Okay, that's fine. Sure thing. Make sure you keep a note of that. So you pick up the pace. It's been several hours since you departed. At this point, it's already been like 3-4 hours since you started this trip. And Erwin makes it clear as you continue your journey that you have maybe 2 hours left. I don't want to think about what that is. I was worried already. Now I fear the worst. At this pace, we should be in Myrefall like an hour before sunset. I'd rather get there before the sun goes down, after seeing that. The character that I'm the most interested right now to see what's going on inside their head is Tedlington. Because he's been about so far, it's like, it doesn't matter the how or the why. I'm here for glory, and this is very much out of the way of the kind of things he's dealt with before.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the exact opposite. After that, he's going to be especially verbose.
Oh, so he doesn't have to be alone with his own thoughts?
Oh, he's got a wonderful story that everyone's going to love, because he didn't start adventuring on his own. He left 6 months ago with his friend, or possibly servant, hard to say, Sainsworth, or was it Tonsworth? Perhaps it was Wriglington. Something equally mundane, and just on and on and on.
That is, I love this. That's amazing. And no one's going to argue with it either, I imagine. Not even Erwin, who would normally be like, what are you doing?
And during this, that is just kind of like, you see alternating sets of eyes rolling. Like he rolls one set one way, the other set the other way.
I think it would also be him trying to change the mood, like just entirely distract. See that everyone is afflicted. He can look beyond himself as well. I think he would say, oh, I know, everyone's down, I'm down too. You know what'll make everyone feel better and lighten the mood? Stories about me.
How about a song?
He doesn't know any songs, but he is quite the calligrapher.
I don't know if that's him inflating his own skills or if that's a genuine skill he actually has. We'll have to see.
You'll have to see.
Thad is going to do something, although he's not doing the chirping rocks. He's going to take an action, and normally with magical tinkering, an object would emit a recorded message that could be heard up 10 feet away, and it says, you utter the message, but I'd like to record Tedlington speaking.
Any particular things of note that he said you want to save, or are you just going to save his monologue?
Just his voice. 6 seconds of his voice talking.
Say, Hank, you have any altar wine, or how about some sacramental whiskey?
And you say that, Hank doesn't really look back at you as his demeanor has changed greatly. I don't drink, as he is just heading on the path.
That means you don't have it, right?
I don't have it, no.
Tedlington, handsome orc man.
Yep, that is me.
My question out of character is, how observant do you think Tedlington is?
I'd say he's a little perceptive, but he doesn't dwell on things much.
So, you notice something first before anybody else. You're in the middle of one of your many monologues about how dope you are, and you see a distant flock of what you think are birds in the sky, flying parallel to the path and basically in your direction, pretty high up. You notice them because they're the first birds you've seen all day.
Our friends, look ahead to the horizon. I see some sort of avian creatures wheeling about in the sky. First thoughts, and then I have a thought, and then I want to hear some more thoughts. So first, thoughts. What do we have?
Not good ones. That's all Erwin says. And he's already got his book off his belt, again.
More thoughts? Friends?
Cover.
Okay, good thought. I like it.
Under the trees, and Hank will start taking to the side path.
During the course where you're discussing what to do, they have gotten close enough that you can actually start to hear them. Tedlington, these birds rasp and shriek hideously as they get closer to the group, piercing the otherwise quiet and peaceful silence. You've never heard any bird, much less what you assume at this point due to their distance to be ravens, to make such an abhorrent sound. I'm assuming everyone has collectively made the agreement to dive off the path. Let's have a quick dex contest to see who's faster. Everyone make a dexterity saving throw, why not? And then we're contesting it.
Tedlington wouldn't want to get off the path, but he would move to the side of the path. He's a listener. The guard said not to leave the path.
All right, Hank, Tedlington, and Erwin, you are not fast enough.
If I'm fast enough, can I do a thing?
Go right ahead.
Okay, so you said this dust is like sawdust, right?
It's a very fine powder.
Wonderful. That's what I wanted. Thad is going to take a pouch, dump the dust in it, and then he's going to chuck this pouch of dust at the birds with it open. so that it starts spreading all the dust, and then he's gonna light that dust up with a firebolt to try to create like a little mini explosion. I'm trying to create like an explosion that can knock him out of the air.
You throw it in the air. I'm going to say you need to hit. You have Firebolt. That's a cantrip. Okay. All right. Go for it. Make a ranged attack against the dust cloud. As you all try to dive off the road, some of you not making it in time. And while Thad is currently making plans to intercept this approaching flock of ravens, they all begin to swoop down upon all of you in a mad flurry. I need everyone to roll initiative. You get to still fire off your Firebolt before initiative actually starts.
Did the 10 hit the cloud?
Yes. So we're going to probably treat this explosion as just maybe 2 times the base damage of your Firebolt. Does that sound fair?
Sure.
Just do 2d10. Everyone tries to dive off the path. Some of them are not quick enough, either because they're rooted to the spot, or otherwise just not quick enough. With quick thinking on your part, Thad, you throw this dust out and fire off a cantrip, and it explodes in a large fireball and a loud bang. And like at least 6 or 7 birds are instantly set ablaze and drop out of the sky with a dull thud hitting the ground. So well done. Tedlington, you surprisingly are at the top of the initiative order. These birds are everywhere. They're basically occupying the space you're in. You're being swarmed by them like it's, an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
First, and most importantly, I'm going to bravely and boldly take the disengage action.
So you're disengaging. Where are you going? Back down the path? Into the trees? Where?
Yes, back down the path?
Awesome. You start running away from the birds. Is that all you're doing?
Yes.
It's now Erwin's turn. Erwin sort of ducks down and is sort of frantically trying to avoid having his eyes pecked out by their ravens, or they might have been ravens. They don't look right. They're off color. Their faces are disfigured. Erwin quickly, he doesn't even open his book. He holds out his hand, and very colorful and intricately designed looking magical darts shoot out and swirl through the air and pierce multiple birds before dissipating in a puff of sparkles. And he does 6 damage. The swarm is already thinning out as more of these birds fall to the ground, and you can even watch Thad, all of you see, as each corpse is created, they begin to lose color, growing gray and lifeless before just disintegrating into dust. Some of them just disintegrate into dust on impact at the ground. They didn't even hold themselves together long enough to hit the floor before they were pieces. Garan, it's your turn.
Oh boy.
So you were one of the people that made it to the tree line in time. So what are you going to do?
I am going to swing my cane at some birds.
Okay, let's do it. Make an attack roll. It's a melee attack.
Alright, well there's my attack roll.
Well, that absolutely hits. That's pretty impressive. You're able to knock... I guess there's a lot of them. And you're specifically using, the cane.
Yes, it's a fancy cane.
You managed to knock several of them out of the air, and several of them that you strike, the moment you hit them, they just sort of it doesn't feel like hitting an animal. It feels more like if you had just smashed your cane through a glass vase or a window. And your cane goes right through some of them, and they just powderize on impact. And as you do that, everyone is sort of flailing about, attacking these things left and right, and their numbers begin to thin until, with one final shriek, the 11 or 12 that were left sort of flutter off into the sky in various directions and are gone. And initiative is over. Well done. That initial explosion did a lot of damage.
Hank, having probably been fighting defensively that whole time, tries to catch his breath. Damn fiends. Let's keep moving.
Erwin agrees. He shakes himself off and he slaps his cheeks, sort of "Ugh," and he says, something is horrifically wrong. Stating the obvious. We can't waste any more time. Myrefall is only about not even an hour away.
I don't know what we would have done without your diversion, Tedlington. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Advance rearward, but always advancing.
You now get a roll of all Thad's eyes at the same time.
You'll notice that Hank is already a well ways down the path.
Oh, he's heading... Oh, yeah, it's Erwin's
He didn't even wait for anybody.
Yeah, Erwin's with you. He didn't even wait either. You guys are getting close at this point. The final, little leg of the trip is spent in silence and a determined sort of, speed that everyone is moving. Erwin says that we've never had any kind of hostile wildlife like this. The birds were actually very smart. We used to have a raven that would come by our window and, peck on the glass, and then my sister would feed it food. It was smart enough to know who we were and recognized us when we weren't at home. I've never seen any of the birds act like this. I've never seen anything like this. You never see wildlife on the trail. They steer clear of us. He seems to cut himself off as he looks ahead, and he says, oh, this is the hill. We'll be able to see the town below after crossing it. We're basically here. And he darts forward in order to get a look over the hill at the town proper below. Hopefully everything is okay, and he stops. He trails off. You can see his expression change even before you catch up. He looks down at the town that you cannot see, and his expression isn't a good one. He just begins to mumble, no, what? No, what? And he darts down the hill out of sight.